members, Miss Nikki here, and welcome back to another video with Virtually BGCMC. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make these really pretty watercolor bouquets with circles and lines. So let's get into the video and I'll show you what you need. First, you're going to need a blank note card. That's what I used here. Nothing fancy. This is literally just a 3x5 note card. I have a palette of watercolors. I have a paintbrush. I have some water, and I have a black Sharpie fine liner. You want it to be a Sharpie because you're gonna be working with watercolors and you wanna get a nice crisp line, and if it's not a Sharpie or a fine tip marker, it might smear because of the watercolor. So let's get started. First, I'm gonna take my paper, and the other piece before we get started that I need to mention is you're gonna wanna put a piece of paper down just to protect your surface. It could be as simple as a grocery bag, which is what I did. I just cut up a grocery bag and I decided that was gonna be my paper. So first, I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna take a look at my watercolors here. And I think the color that I want to make my flowers this time around is going to be this really deep purple. So first I need to wet my brush, give myself plenty of space. Just tap my brush. I'm using the paper also as a way to get some of the water, the excess water out of my brush. So I've got a lot of paint here and I'm just gonna make like 4 really big circles, and you don't have to do anything fancy. It's literally 4 circles on the note card. I'm trying to do them a little bit on the top here so that we have a more space for the stems. And it looks like I need a little bit more water, so I'm gonna do that. And we'll put one over here. Fill that in. And then maybe I get a little bit more paint and I'll put one over here. So there are my 4 circles. I'm gonna outline this again. Again, as you can see, I did nothing fancy. I just got some paint and I decided to make 4 circles. I'm gonna have my stems going in this direction because this spot right here has a lot of blank space. And because my purple is so dark, I'm gonna go with a really vibranty green for my stems. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just going to do some lines down off all the flowers so that all my flowers connect to the stem. And this flower, I think, is gonna have its own stem right here. So I'm also putting a little bit of a base to kind of show that these flowers are being held by the green stem. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our green and I'm gonna make some leaf shapes. They do not have to be perfect. They can overlap. That's totally fine. Do not worry. You're gonna get more clean lines as we start to add in our Sharpie marker. And you'll get some of those fine details that we're not getting here because, again, it's watercolor and we're going pretty quickly. I'm gonna do some extra little lines. Extra leaves, extra lines. Almost like there's other Maybe there's going to be more flower buds coming off. You don't know. I don't know. We'll use our marker to really get that fine detail in place. And I kind of want to do something at the top, so I'm actually going to do a little bit of a, what looks like a leaf coming up the top too. Okay. Now I have all of my basic shapes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work very carefully, because when you're looking at this, you can see that some parts, like here, are wet, and some, like here, are completely dry. So the parts that are really dry are my flowers, those 4 circles. So I'm gonna start with those. This is incredibly simple. You're gonna make spirals. So I'm gonna hold down, I have nails, but you can use the tip of your finger, and I'm gonna hold down, and I'm gonna start making a small spiral. And then I'm gonna go out, and I'm not gonna make it even, because truly nothing in nature is really even. And so we're just making it look and mimic nature. So there's one, and this is obviously the center of the flower. So here's my spiral, and I'm gonna go out. And there's my next flower. And then I'll move over here, and we'll start again with my center spiral. And we'll go out just like that. I'm gonna actually keep that going into the leaf. And then the final one right here, go here, and I'll go this way. And there you have it. There's my 4 flowers. They are now done. And now what we're gonna do is very carefully, we're going to outline and add the details to our leaves. So I'm gonna start here because up here is dry. So I'm just going to make 2 leaf shapes, one here and one here, and give them their center. And then I wanna make it so there's like a stem that comes down. And then we hugged the flowers, so I did that. More stem. You can see we have this leaf shape, so I'm gonna go ahead and outline that. Give it a little line. And I think we can actually make a tiny little bud over here. So that's what that is. Then I'm gonna go ahead, this is still wet, so I'm just gonna go down, all the way down. And then I'm gonna come back up here and have it go to the stem. I'm gonna make another leaf shape here. And then we've got a little, looks like a little curlicue. Then we have another leaf shape here. So I'm just gonna go ahead, pull that leaf shape in. I like the idea of a flower bud here, so I put that there. And then down here at the bottom, we've got that little bud. Make that a leaf shape. This is still a little wet, so I'm gonna be really careful when I put that leaf shape in right there. And then the final piece, we're gonna go up, grab that, and then we have one final leaf here and here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna outline the outside so as not to get too into the wet watercolor. And we got this here. And you got that there. And the watercolor is still a little wet, so I'll probably leave that until later. And I'll make it a line. But there you have it. All I did was some circles, some lines, and then just some details. Makes for a really beautiful spring bouquet of flowers with some simple circles, lines, and some fine details with a pen. We hope you try this at home, and I hope that you love making art and enjoy. We'll catch you next time. Bye. Bye, members.